The Low Carbon Beef Project is a collaboration between Dumbia, FAI Farms and Breeder, supported by Defra funding through Innovate UK, to look at dairy-bred beef calves on a regenerative type system. Carbon emissions associated with beef production are a really important topic. We know that government has got targets set for 2050, the NFU have set targets for 2040, and all our major customers have targets around reducing carbon. We know that beef production has a significant contribution to carbon footprints. However, we also have a lot of the solutions as well, and we're working together to find those solutions and present the beef industry in a positive light. So this trial at FAI involves dairy beef crosses, mainly Angus crosses out of the dairy herd, following them through from a traditional rearing farm, bringing them onto FAI and looking at how they perform over their lifetime, ensuring that meat quality and sustainability go hand in hand. The objective of this project is to look at all the different factors involved in a regenerative grazing system. It's not about farmers going away and turning their systems into regenerative farms. It's about learning the key points of that, whether that be stocking rates, whether that be grazing habits, fencing and infrastructure, and even looking at the genetics and the capabilities of dairy-bred animals on this type of system. So the project at FAI is part of our wider Dumbia UK strategy, looking at levers to improve and reduce our carbon footprint. We've been working on setting and reducing our science-based targets since 2017, and as part of that, we set out to carbon footprint 500 farms from January 2022. We're then looking at these levers to improve and reduce our carbon footprint.
As part of the Innovate UK project looking at low carbon beef, we've really focused on dairy beef animals from the dairy sector. We know those animals are coming with a lower carbon footprint versus a suckler calf that will come with quite an embedded amount of carbon from its mother. Dairy beef makes up about 50 to 60% of our beef supply chain, so it was definitely an area for us to focus on. Do those genetics and do those animals stand up in a system like this? And again, part of the project is understanding at what point to introduce them onto the grazing platform, where we need to intervene with certain different management practices to make sure that we're maintaining growth rates at a cost-effective approach. I think the opportunity for us where we are going to make our margin on our beef production system is through pasture grazing. And the way we're doing the regenerative grazing here is about short duration grazing, moving the animals quickly, probably every 24 hours, with the ultimate aim of trying to hit at least 1 kilo a day daily live weight gain whilst at pasture. In terms of regenerative agriculture, a lot of this is about leaning into nature and the ecosystem processes that are already going on. So ultimately, we're trying to reduce inputs in terms of purchased feed, fertilizer, chemical inputs. So we know that will reduce our carbon footprint of beef production. But if we ultimately want to get to net zero, we're going to have to look at things like soil sequestration, above ground sequestration, and whilst doing that, it's about supporting biodiversity as well on farm. Part of the project is around dissemination. So this is dissemination to farmers and agriculture. So we've had a group of farmers here today. We've taken them through sort of our learnings to date, some of the things that went really well or hasn't gone so well. And we ended the day with looking at our grazing platform. The cattle are out to grass now. A lot of interest around the regenerative grazing and the opportunities that presents.
Promar's partnered with Dumbia on the Low Carbon Beef Project, and we do carbon footprinting for the UK farms. Today I did a presentation on carbon footprinting, and I hope the take-home message would be that there's a huge benefit behind this, including getting a benchmark and a baseline for your farm, as well as creating an efficient system that will hopefully have cost savings at the end of it. The way we present a carbon footprint is the kilograms of CO2 equivalent, which is accounting for not just carbon, but your methane and nitrous oxide as well. And that will be recorded per kilogram of dead weight. So you can compare a farm that has got 1,000 cattle with a farm that's got 100 cattle, as we're just looking at the efficiency per dead weight of output. The carbon footprinting we've been doing on beef farms in the UK have many ways of improving efficiency. Some of the most common improvements we see are around forage utilisation, increasing those yields, either through grass lays or the way you're grazing the livestock. Other improvements can be around manure storage and reducing those ammonia emissions, as well as feed efficiency is a key one by looking at the diet.
Innovate UK is working with Defra to deliver the Farming Innovation Programme, designed to work with the industry. By industry I mean farmers and the growers and foresters, And one of the key aims is sustainability and also targeting net zero. We recognise this is a real challenge for the cattle industry, and that's why we awarded funding to this project. One of the aims of the Farming Innovation Programme is farmer adoption and farmer engagement. So we're looking for the project to work with farmers, for example on the open day today, to demonstrate what's been learned, what the project's been working on and how farmers can take that back to their farms to drive down carbon emissions.
I've come to this event today to get a better understanding about carbon footprint. We have done some work with Dumbia on carbon footprint reporting, and this will give me a greater understanding as to what that work will involve and how it can help us as farmers moving forward. One of the issues I'm going to take home today is about monitoring, and I think probably there's more we could do as farmers in terms of monitoring cattle weights at various times and looking more closely at the data. The more information you have, the more informative our results will be. You know where we can work from and for the future of our carbon footprint.
So come along to the Low Carbon Beef Project Open Farm Day, mainly because we want to just understand where we can improve as a farm for our sustainability and also understand what advantages there are to knowing your carbon footprint on farm. It's been a really fantastic, interesting day so far. I think it's been interesting to see the advantages of using application like Breeder, where you can gather your database of daily live weight gain to see how your cattle are improving, and actually how you can see where your bottom performing animals lie and how you might want to manage them differently. My main personal take-home message is that if we can maximise growth off grass during summer, it will ensure that we minimise our carbon footprint, and we've got to make sure that our transition diets from housing to grazing or grazing to housing isn't too harsh on the animal, otherwise they really slow their growth rates and that can have a big impact on our carbon footprint on farm.